This is the most prestigious basketball school in the entire country. See, Montverde Academy is home to the reigning Undefeated Boys National Champions, which consisted of 5 5-star players, including the #1 ranked Cooper Flagg. And somehow we got exclusive access to tour their storied facilities, which include a custom weight room, training room, banner-filled gym, a full bar, and so much more. So with that, we're going to start out right here in the Hall of Champions to meet up with Coach Boyle, who will be giving us the tour, and try to find out Montverde's big secret to non-stop championships.
Yeah, you guys are going to need some more wall space here, man. When you win too many national championships.
Right off the bat here, I wanted to know what makes one of these championship teams so special.
With 2020
Oh, it's Caden now.
team, yeah. Besides the first group, obviously, with 4 guys that got one and done, like drafted in the first round, the bench of that team, which had like Ryan Nemhard, those 3 guys, and then Caleb Houston, number 22, was like the starting lineup of the next year's team that won the national championship, which was their bench who came into the game for them at like the 4-minute mark, was the team that won the national championship the next year. So it was like the most elite group of like junior underclassmen to be behind those guys for the following year. Because of that, every day you were going against 4, guys that were a year away from being one and done.
Yeah, I was listening to Missoula talk, and he was saying that like he chose to grow up in the Celtics organization and learn under Brad Stevens, and I mean now he's a championship winning coach. So
for sure,
it's kind of that same mindset.
All right, so now that you guys have an idea of the winning that goes on here, let me introduce you to the secret plan for today. Montverde has seen numerous NBA All-Stars come through this door, from Joel Embiid to D'Angelo Russell to RJ Barrett. The talent that walked these halls is historic, but I want to put Coach Boyle on the spot here and finally get the answer to the 2 most asked questions in high school basketball. Who is Montverde's greatest player of all time, and which team is actually the best? I ended up asking Coach Boyle, and let's just say he gave a shocking answer.
Single elimination matchup, I'm going with the
It's the best answer you could give.
But for now, let's go check out the gym and all the accomplishments inside of it.
Championship banners, double row, pretty cool.
You know what? It's I know there's been like a controversial thing about that here between like the coaching staff when they started to do that. Like if it's blocking the other ones, or if there was a better alternative, but I don't know that there is. We're gonna end up running out of space for all this stuff at some point. But
When did Montverde really become like the basketball epicenter in the South? Like
2011, 2012, when Coach Boyle took over here. It's a little bit of a different mentality where like every single year the goal is we're trying to be the #1 team in the country, not just we're trying to be pretty good or we're happy to be in the top 5 or invited to certain events. Like no, like the resources here, the facilities characterize it like New Jersey, Northeast, like edge and toughness to the program, where you had a lot of great athletes from Florida and this area. And it's like, can we use a combination of like talent, size, now like good basketball coaching and tough, intense defensive pressure and championship mindset. The first year, 2012, probably, I don't know if the team was even started inside the top 10 in the country to start the year by anybody. At the end of the year, we lost in the national championship to Findlay Prep. And again, we were up like 14, that we probably shouldn't have even been in the championship. Then following year, 2013, we won for the first time. And then we won 13, 14, 15, 3 in a row. After that, when you start to have a run like that, you're on ESPN all the time, you have a few guys get picked in the top 1, 2, or 3 in the draft a few years in a row. It makes it a lot more attractive and a lot easier, where now if you have a conversation with somebody and you mention you're from Montverde, every family's gonna listen, every player's gonna at least want to hear what you have to say and take an interest in what the program might have to offer.
I don't want to put you on the spot here and get you in trouble, but I mean there's just a legitimate Hall of Fame right here of NBA All-Stars.
Yeah.
Who out of all these guys had the best actual Montverde career, do you think?
You could look at it a lot of different ways. Like, sometimes you get sentimental for like the less glamorous situations. Like I'll say like RJ Barrett is one where when he was a freshman before he like ended up reclassing like Cooper did to skip basically his last year, we lost in the semifinals. The next year we lost in the championship, and then his senior year we end up going 35-0. But that's a team, and that's a guy who like his career is special in a way because it was such a buildup of like Jordan talks about in like The Last Dance, where it's like those years of losing and getting knocked out and like being bad is like the same thing that drives you. And that was a really special career he had. On the other hand, you could have a Ben Simmons who, as a sophomore, junior, and senior, we won the national championship every time, and he was on the court 3 quarters or more. And then another one would be Dariq Whitehead, who went here as an 8th grader, was on the varsity team. So he was an 8th grader, RJ Barrett's senior year of high school. So he was on 4 teams that won the national championship and finished #1 in all the polls. So a guy who on paper is like the winningest player, and a special story where the thing that I think is partially is separated between us and a lot of the other prep schools a lot of the team is here for multiple years. You know, like, exactly, like there might be a year where you have to have 4 or 5 new guys because you had a lot of seniors. So it's a combination of those small hometown teams that just know how to play well together and have experience together, and the talented prep school type guys that you see at this level. So it's been good.
Now that we know the guys who are going down in Montverde history as the best, I wanted to see more of the gym because up these stairs is what they call the perch. This is the best seat in the house to watch a game. It's a spot where they show off all of their trophies and actually have one of the only full service bars in high school basketball for alumni and family to enjoy.
Everybody sits up here. And it's funny because like my mom and like wife, who like probably are half paying attention to the game, like to sit up here. We got a championship ring this year from our 2020 team because we never had a formal event at the end of the year because of COVID and stuff. We had a full banquet with like Cade and Scotty and all those guys attended in like November. And I lost the ring like that day. like in the 24 hours, I lost the championship ring. But I don't really care because one of the things we talk about all the time is like, you know what, we should go bust our ass the whole year to try to win because we're supposed to or because we think we're capable of it. And like everybody take a picture with the trophy and then throw it out the window on the way home. Cause like,
what's up with why does D'Lo get his own separate jersey up there?
So this is the funny thing. So in the early years, you know, Coach Boyle only came here in 2012. So D'Angelo was a sophomore that year. So it was still kind of like a slow matriculation of guys that you might retire their jerseys. By that time, whatever year he came back to do that, it was probably like 2016, 2017. They're like, you know what, that's a great opportunity if we're ever gonna retire his jersey. Like, so they did it. And then, you know, discussions were happening about retiring other people's jerseys. You start to realize like, we're gonna run out of numbers and like not be able to like have a team. Yeah, or like we might as well not retire them. So we hung his jersey, and I guess we would say it's like hung there in recognition, but I think we've taken away the idea of retiring jerseys because we would probably be missing about half, we'd be missing half the numbers that are possible, so.
Awesome, yeah, let's check out the rest of the place here.
After we headed back down, we decided to stop by and check out the weight room that's connected to the gym. Now, Montverde has 21 different sports at their school, each one having numerous teams on different levels. So hundreds of athletes each day come through here. But I wanted to know, what's the differentiator between a normal student and a future NBA pro?
This is awesome, man. Do you guys have like a full strength coach?
Last year we had 10 basketball teams, including the varsity basketball, the national team. Some of those would include like our post grad. We have a varsity gold, which plays like sort of like regionally, and then there's probably 1 or 2 JVs, 1 or 2 freshman team, a middle school team. Throughout the day, those teams have like scheduled times in here, and there's different coaches that work with them. The guy who's the head of the whole program, basically his job is like director of everybody, and then like individually he only works with like a couple teams being like varsity. So like when we're in here 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're in here for like an hour to an hour and a half on those days, and he's working with them, and you know.
I mean, I played college football, so it's a little bit different, but like in football, you know, the best players are kind of born in here.
Yeah.
Like this is where you become a dog. So like, what do you think kind of separates the guys that, you know, get to go and have these like luxurious NBA careers? Is it built in here? Like, can you just tell when they're in the gym it's a little bit different?
I think that there's definitely certain things like you can't teach. Like I think Cooper Flagg probably had a lot of different people that have been influential in him becoming the player he is, but I think nobody taught him to have the aggressive mentality he had. I'm sure he was tackling kids in the sandbox. You know, like you just have a different sort of thing where no matter what game it is, if it's a game you could have 45, you're gonna go after every rebound and you're gonna go do it. So the things is there's a lot of kids that have similar talent. There's probably right now 40 kids between the class of 25 to 27 that are between 6'7" to 6'9" that can kind of shoot, that can dunk, that can run, that have a good body. It's like, who are like the 10% that play hard and care if they win and lose? And like those guys, if they get around the right people, are probably gonna end up making it.
Is there like a varsity locker room that's connected to this stuff?
Yeah, I can show you.
I know what you're thinking. This looks like every other high school locker room in the country, and you'd be right. But you see behind this door, the varsity team gets their own special spot.
Now, it's literally like I said, like this was like our film room, and we kind of converted it to be like our own like smaller you know, locker room when we're getting ready. So like we put kind of some of this stuff on the walls, like I'll update. There's a photo of the gym we were gonna be playing in, and then some graphics I saw people posting on social media.
Sidebar, I was at this game, this gym was insane.
Yeah.
High school gym that with a Jumbotron at center court.
Yeah, that was
just pretty silly.
It was nice.
The final stop on our tour was their training room. It's a normal run-of-the-mill high school med room, except everything was built long enough for a 7-footer.
It's funny.
Longest Normatec in the country.
Yeah, we have all of them, all the Normatec. So anytime of the day you come in here, here. There's definitely a lot of kids from different sports that are doing their recovery and stuff. We had this where probably the entire 7 days leading up to Derek Queen, Cooper Flagg, Liam McNeely were leaving to go to the McDonald's All-American game. So we were working out extra every day, and I would just stand here with the clock and force him to sit in here. And every few minutes, I just dump in more ice.
Keep that at 50.
You can imagine he's like crunched up in this thing, because even
it's a big body in there.
This is pretty big, but still for guys that are 6'10", 6'11", and freezing to death, you can get kind of tight in there.
Now, with everything in the basketball center completed, we still had one question left to ask. Out of every single championship an NBA caliber team and player Montverde has had, which team is actually the best? Was it K&M, Cooper Flagg, or is there a dark horse contender? Well, Coach KBJ has seen each one of them up close, so it's finally time to go end this argument.
All right, so the final question I think I got is probably the most viral one that everyone asks. You know, which team was better, this year or 2020 Cade?
I think.
Or is there a different answer? It could be a different team.
I'll say this. Number one, the 2018 team has to be thrown in there also, because another team that went 35-0 had 5 starters that have been in the NBA and 4 of them that were drafted. So they got to be in the conversation. But I would say in a 7-game series, I would say I got to go with 2020 team. In a single game college NCAA tournament style or high school style, like single elimination matchup, I'm going with the 2014 from this season.
That's the best answer you could give. I appreciate the tour, my man.
For sure.
Yes,
no
sir.
problem. Great to see you.
If you guys enjoyed this one, subscribe and click the video on the screen. We're dropping behind the scenes of the basketball world each and every single week. And right now I'm on a flight to a haunted hotel, so you're not going to want to miss that one. See you soon.